Good morning, everyone. Janie here. Welcome back to my garden. It is an absolute beautiful day today. We're supposed to get up to 85, which is crazy. It is really going. Monty is still nibbling on my apricot tree. Come here, buddy. Come on. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. So Monty actually knows what I'm doing today. I'm actually working on this apricot tree. I was talking to my friend Lance, who is an apricot farmer from Jackson Farms in Kingsburg, California. He's actually been to my house before when we first moved in and gave me some tips and tricks on dealing with my orchard, my fruit trees and everything like that. And he gave me some tips on handling my apricot tree that is doing so much better this year. I have so much fruit on it. I actually need to thin it this year, so that's what I want to get done today. So you can see Monty is nibbling on the green fruit. Lance told me that the green fruit is not toxic for him to nibble on, but it will create some, quote, exit issues. Thanks, Lance. Monty, stop. Come give it to me. You guys, I think this dog is smarter than we think. Come here, buddy. Come here. Because he was not touching these apricots at all until I started talking about it. Come here. You don't even want that. It's not a ball. I know it looks like a ball, but it's not a ball. I think he knows. I think you know. I think you're a ham is what it is. Anyway, so I do have a couple things I want to get done today, but the first thing is I want to address this apricot tree. I pruned this apricot tree earlier this year, and man, I'm really proud of what I did. It looks so much better this year than it did last year. Last year, I only got a handful of apricots, and now look at this. Look at this. This is crazy. So anyways, Lance texted me and he said that I need to thin these ASAP as soon as possible. And he said, thin them to every 3 to 4 inches. And what that's going to do is that's going to allow all the tree's energy to go into just a couple of the apricots. The tree's going to be happier and the apricots are going to be bigger and juicier and yummier. So I definitely want to get that done. He said that I could leave a branch just so that I could see the difference between those apricots and the ones that I thinned. So I might do that because that might be a fun experiment just to see what happens. But look at how good this tree looks this year. And this is just because I pruned it. I did not prune it last year. I pruned it and I sprayed it because I think it had some type of aphid or disease or something like that. So next year, I think they rent out this house and I think they got a new tenant and there's a new dog over there if you guys hear him, and he's moaning. He moans when the owner leaves for work. So if you hear him, that's not Monty. That's a dog. He's totally fine. So he seems like a really cute dog. I'm excited to meet him. But if you guys hear that, that's what it is. I did want to show you guys the bearded iris. Look at how beautiful this bearded iris is. It's absolutely gorgeous having these. I don't know the exact terms. I know there's terms for these petals and these petals, but I just love that these are deep purple and these are more of a creamy color. Oh, they're just so beautiful. And I think that with the raspberry superbena, look at how gorgeous that look is. These 3 plants right here, these are the Pugster amethyst. I'm pretty sure it's the amethyst Dahlia. So hopefully that'll start blooming soon after the bearded iris is done, and then we'll have more color here. But this is just turning out really, really nice. So Lance did tell me that when you thin the apricots, you don't want to pull them off. You either want to twist them or you either want to bend them back against the grain, kind of snap them off. So that's something that I'm going to do with these. The other thing that Lance told me, I forgot to tell you guys, is my lovely pomegranate tree that I pruned to within an inch of its life. He actually told me that I did a good job. He watched that video and he said that that's how they prune their pomegranate trees. He owns this giant fruit orchard, and he does mostly peaches, a lot of stone fruit, and he does do a lot of pomegranates. And so he saw the video of my pomegranate tree that I was so worried about, and he said that I did a good job. So thank you, Lance. I'm very excited about it, and I think it's looking so much better than it did last year when it was super scrubby. So anyway, I'm just going to get started with thinning this apricot tree. Lance told me that I also want to choose the largest fruit that I can, like pick the largest one, and also you only want 1 fruit per bud. He said that he saw a lot of doubles and triples on this tree, which I think means my tree's happy, but of course I want to get good fruit set. So I will thin them out. For those of you who've been watching me, you know that when I moved into this house, I inherited all these fruit trees and I know nothing about fruit trees, and I don't know what it is. It's just the type of thing in gardening that I get really nervous about, I think because I don't have any experience. And then when I did my Master Gardener's training, I was sick on the week that they taught about fruit trees, so Lance has been helping me out so much and making me feel way more comfortable in taking care of my fruit trees. So his advice is worth its weight in gold. Thank you, Lance. I'm going to get started thinning my apricot tree. I am all done with thinning my apricot tree. I cannot believe how many there were to thin. This is a ton. A ton. I cannot believe it. But that is one thing that Lance did tell me, is he said, don't be afraid to take off too many. So, okay, Lance, I did it. So I did leave this one branch right here. I did not thin this branch. You can see that there's like 2 on one bud, 2 on one bud right there. That's what he was talking about. So it'll be really interesting to see how these particular apricots do as compared to the ones that I thinned. So for example, you can see these. They have plenty of room to grow, and this branch is only going to have to put so much energy into just these few apricots. So I'm excited to see how it's going to be. I have to say, I'm really excited about this apricot tree because, like I said, fruit trees are just kind of a nerve-wracking thing for me as a gardener, and I know I just need more experience and more time, and this is giving me that experience that I need, and Lance is helping me through, and his wife tomorrow. Hi, tomorrow. One thing I did want to show you guys, let's see if I can find it. Oh, look here. So there you can see there's some sap coming out like that. And what I've always learned is that when you see a tree with sap like that, that's in response to either like an insect or some type of fungus or bacteria or disease or something like that. So I'll have to look into that, maybe ask Lance. Hint, hint, wink, wink, Lance. But I'll be interested to see why it kind of looks like that. And maybe that's why I didn't have a really good fruit set last year, because I did have something going on with this fruit tree that maybe when I sprayed it with copper earlier on in the season, maybe that kind of fixed it for the most part. So I'm excited to actually get this done. I'm excited for these fruits to start ripening. I've told you guys about the recipe that my late mother-in-law used to make. She would call it a dump cake, and she would take apricots, put it in a pan, take a box of yellow cake mix, pour it into the pan, and then pour melted butter over it. Oh my goodness, it was the most yummy, delicious thing, and I actually think I'm going to be able to make it this year, which I'm really excited about to make in her memory. So anyway, very excited about this. Time to move on to my next job for today. All right, so next task, I am working over here in my orchard garden that is looking absolutely stunning. Oh, I just love it. It looks like a painting, which is exactly what I wanted for this area. It looks so beautiful. The iceberg roses are about to go crazy. There's so many buds on them, and all the other plants are just looking beautiful, except for this one osteospermum right here. I planted all of these from my April blooming garden, and for some reason, one just up and died. I don't know if Monty peed on it, or I don't know. I don't know what happened with that one. It's still got a little bit of green to it, so I'm hoping it bounces back, but I don't know. If I'm at the garden center and I see another one, I might just grab another one. Anyway, so I am working in this area today. I'm actually going to be working right behind the Nyphophia over there. And what I am going to be planting is this guy right here. This weird looking plant is called a tree dahlia, or a Dahlia imperialis. And if you haven't seen one of these, heard of these, like, research it, because it is the coolest plant ever. It actually gets 8 to 12 feet tall. 8 to 12 feet tall. It is so cool. It is very, it's akin to a regular dahlia, but it's a little bit different. It's actually from the Aztec region, and they used to call this plant a cocotil, which means water cane. And if you look at this big bamboo stem that it gets, this is actually hollow, and this is what they used to use to transport water, like when they would go hunting and stuff like that, which I just thought is so cool. These plants, they're Dahlia imperialis is the name, and they're actually kind of hard to find. I have a hard time getting my hands on these a lot. And so Jan, who actually is friends with Katie at Candelario Ace Hardware, she offered to gift me one of hers. And I appreciate it so much, Jan. You are so wonderful. And in exchange, I am giving her a little baby of my geranium matarense. So Jan, you have to send me your mailing address so I can send that to you once I get a baby, once it blooms, hopefully in May. So anyway, she gifted me this one, and I'm going to be planting it. It has these beautiful pink blooms. It had some blooms on it, but of course in transport it kind of faded a little bit. So I am thinking about planting it back here, kind of close to the podocarpus, so that if I do need to stake it up, you don't always need to stake it up. Robbie has one of these and he doesn't stake his, but I do want it kind of close to a stake just in case it gets windy or something. I'm thinking about putting it right there, and it's going to get huge. Like I said, 8 to 12 feet tall, which is so fun. So I was laying in bed last night, super excited about planting this today. And I was thinking about where I wanted to plant it, and I just thought of this spot right here, and I thought, oh, that is absolutely perfect. So I'm just going to get to planting. I do have some Espoma Biotone starter fertilizer. I go back and forth between, depending on what I have on hand, Biotone, and then there's also this stuff called Sure Start from EB Stone. This is just kind of a local company to us, so if you guys see me using this, it's basically the same thing as Biotone. It's basically just a starter fertilizer, but I have had more people than I can count tell me how good it is to put Biotone in your planting hole when you're planting dahlias. So of course I want this tree dahlia to thrive and to have the best chance possible of surviving this transplant. So I am going to be using Biotone. I'm going to take no chances. So I'm just going to dig my hole with the auger and get this guy planted. apologize. I thought I had a better shot of me planting it, but I think all you saw was my hair. So sorry about that. But basically, it just looks like regular dahlia tubers. And then I just planted it in the hole and I backfilled it with soil after I put in some of the biotone starter fertilizer in it. And then I did cut off the excess of the cane because this is actually last year's cane, but I do want to leave some of it because I want to know where it is, and then we can hook it up to drip and I can keep an eye on it and know where those tree dahlia tubers are. So with these guys, you can propagate it by root division or by cuttings. So if I even see even a little bit of growth, I actually might take another cutting just so that I can have more of these. Wouldn't that be amazing to have a whole bunch of these all around your garden? The one drawback to these is if you live in an area that has a shorter growing season, it might not bloom for you because these don't start blooming until fall. It needs plenty of time to grow up and mature before it starts blooming. So it usually starts blooming, I don't know, I want to say September or October or something like that. And some people, their last frost is so late and first frost is so early that they never actually get to see tree dahlias bloom. So I would say this is probably a better plant for those of you in milder climates and have a longer growing season than those of you who have shorter growing seasons. Okay, so next on my list for today, I'm in the backyard by the Vigo beds. There's my Chinese pistache tree that just leafed out overnight and it looks absolutely incredible. Hopefully I'm not making you guys dizzy. And then my chicken coop is right there. My plan is to get my Gigantosaurus Hosta in the ground. This is a new hosta from Proven Winners and they named it Gigantosaurus. So like, of course I had to put this in my garden. Not only do I love the name, but it is also a hosta that gets 6.5 feet wide. Are you kidding? Are you kidding? That is definitely a dinosaur. It's going to be huge, and I think it's going to be really perfect in this spot right here underneath the tree. Here in Zone 9B in Northern California, we get so hot and our sun is so strong that we have to be really careful about where we plant hostas because they can definitely scorch. So I actually planted some hostas over on the north side of my house in my secret garden where I thought that they would be shady enough, but they definitely weren't. They got too much sun and my hostas started scorching, and I actually dug them up and I moved them over here to these raised beds as kind of like medic, right? Like recovery mode. And they're doing really well in this space right here. So I kind of knew this is right next to where I want to plant the Gigantosaurus Hosta. And so I thought it would be a good place. And I think I will even transplant some of those over there as well. But at least for today, I just want to get that Gigantosaurus in the ground and growing so that we can start working towards getting it to 6.5 feet wide. Of course, that's going to take a couple years, just like the Empress Wu Hosta. It takes a couple years to get that big, but I want to start going now because, oh my goodness, that would be so exciting if I had a hosta that big. So you can see I'm thinking about putting it right there, and I think that that's a perfect spot because we get so much leaf drop here, and I usually just leave the leaves in this spot. I actually have this patio area right in front of my metal workshop door, and we blow all the leaves over there. So I think it'll be actually really good for the hosta. The hosta's leaves can cover all that leaf mold. I always think like I have to remember to leave spots for when I come through and I use my blower for the leaves. I need a spot to blow the leaves to. And so this is going to be one of the spots. And I think having a hosta there will be absolutely perfect. I did want to show you guys my bloomerang lilac. It's a re-blooming lilac from Proven Winners. It is only hardy zones 3 through 7. So I am so pushing it here, but I've heard from a couple people that we can get by. You know, it might be the humidity that you can't do the lilac, the heat and humidity that the lilacs don't like. My friend Fanula from Cottage Gardens of Petaluma, she plants lilacs all over her garden and they're absolutely beautiful. So this is kind of a trial plant. So zones 3 through 7, it smells amazing. I keep going through here. My chickens are talking to me. Look at her. That's Eloise. She wants me to go in and give her treats. This guy smells so good. It smells beautiful. And it's actually going to rebloom again late summer to fall, which is really, really cool. So this one will get about 5 feet tall and 5 feet wide. This other one that I have over here, this white one that I cannot for the life of me remember the name of. This one is done. I think it's only a one-time bloomer, like a spring bloomer and done. So I'll probably come and just deadhead all of these and we'll just wait for it to bloom again next year. It was totally worth it. It was an absolute beautiful, beautiful show. But this is pretty much done. So anyway, let me get the hosta in the ground, and then I'll also deadhead the lilacs as well. Okay, I'm coming. Quick snack. I was already out here this morning and gave them fresh strawberries. They are the most spoiled chickens. Do you want this? What do you want? Oh, did you see that? That was so rude. All right, there you go. So I ended up planting all of the hostas over here, but I think it looks really good. So again, underneath my beautiful Chinese pistache, where it is going to get pretty much dappled shade throughout the season. Of course, the Chinese pistache is deciduous, so it does lose all its leaves in the wintertime. So this area is pretty much full sun during the winter, but hostas die back, so it doesn't matter in the wintertime. I think it's going to be a perfect spot for them. So we have the 6.5 foot wide Gigantosaurus. That is the biggest one. The next biggest one is my Empress Wu right here. This one will eventually get up to 6 feet wide. So yes, I will have to move some things, but not for a while. So I think it's fine just like that. And then finally, I have 2 matching ones. That one doesn't look as good. That one was in more sun over in the Vigo bed. So I think it kind of grew a little too much. I probably should have transplanted it about a month ago, but this one's looking really good. This one's called Diamond Lake, and that it has these beautiful kind of wavy margins, wavy edges, and I think that they look so pretty, especially with the beads of water. I am so distracted. You're distracting me. She is so loud. I thought roosters were supposed to be the loud ones. We have roosters next door, and they are so incredibly loud. But she's almost just as loud, especially when I come back here. She just wants me to go in there and hang out with her, which is very sweet. But I have to work. So I do think this area is coming together. Again, we are going to have a pathway from the Vigo beds. We're going to have it come all the way around here into the chicken coop area. I did want to say this rebloomerang dark purple lilac on the Proven Winners website. It says that you need to put it in like full sun, like 6 hours of full sun. And this obviously is not full sun, but that is the trade-off that I have to do to be able to get it to last, to be able to handle my zone 9B climate, because again, this is only rated up to zone 7. So I'm not sure if it's going to bloom again during the late summer fall, obviously because it's not going to get as much sun as it needs. When the pistache doesn't have its leaves, I think it'll get enough sun during the winter time for its first spring bloom, but it might not rebloom. So we'll definitely watch that and we'll see how it does. But this is definitely a stretch for my zone. So for those of you in higher zones, first watch what I do before you go out and buy something like that. So anyway, this is coming together. I think it looks really good. And I do have a couple other things I want to plant in this area for now. This isn't an area that I'm totally focusing on. It's just one of the best dapple shade spots I have in my garden, which is great because that is like key planting space, like super good planting space if you have dappled shade, because then you can put these beautiful plants in. And then quick side note, update on my pink lemonade honeysuckle. It is looking gorgeous. It's so beautiful. Every day something new is blooming and looking amazing, and I just have to share it with all of you guys. Just so gorgeous. So that's going to be it for today. I got a lot of things done that I wanted to get done, particularly thinning out the fruit on that apricot tree. That was super important that I needed to get done. So I hope you all enjoyed this. I hope you're having a lovely spring like I am, and I hope you all have a chance to get in your garden today.